Jake Paul and Mike Tyson have been banned from all future boxing events. This is understandable because they have caused more damage to the sport's reputation than any promoter ever could. Now they are facing the consequences in the toughest way possible, public backlash. Let me explain why this happened. Remember those training videos that were leaked, showing Mike Tyson looking incredibly strong? He even accidentally injured his coach during sparring. It seemed like he was still at his peak, but unfortunately it was all just to make the public believe that Mike still had his power.
The fight was scripted. Everyone is talking about this on X, and the script was actually leaked on X a few days ago. Now this script has went viral. Let's see how accurate it was. The opening bell rings, Tyson is showing flashes of his old form, which actually happened. As soon as the bell went, Mike Tyson came out with that head movement, pushing forward. Immediately he stalks forward with his signature bob and weave style.
Millions of people tuned in expecting a real fight, but instead they got a staged spectacle. Jake's behavior wasn't surprising since he's always treated boxing like a joke, but Mike Tyson was supposed to be the one to restore respect to the sport. Instead, he teamed up with Jake and helped damage boxing's reputation. Was it really worth losing fans' trust and betraying the sport he said he loved?
Mike Tyson was right, and I was wrong. You know, you guys know the whole story about Shark Week, and you know, if you don't, I begged him not to do the Roy Jones fight. You're too old. I love you. I don't want to see you take any more punishment. So I set him up on Shark Week. He got paid good money. And he's like, so he almost flipped out the last day and was ready to kill everybody on the boat because he had to jump in with all these sharks again in the middle of Florida. And he's like, asshole says that, you know, he cares about me and everything else. I've been fighting since I was 12. And he throws me in the ocean with a bunch of sharks. He was right about that too. But he basically said, I told him, Mike, you're basically 60 years old. And he's like, you honestly think this kid's gonna do anything to me?
Mike, once known for his toughness and honor, has let us down in ways we never imagined. He wasn't just outmatched, he betrayed the core values of boxing. After building hype with leaked training clips that made him look like a powerhouse, he sold out. Jake, on the other hand, did what he always does, turning boxing into a cheap reality show. But this time, the stakes were higher. And with his partner, Nisa Biden, they created an event that will be remembered as a joke in the history of boxing.
Many are upset over the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight, with some people claiming that it was rigged because many people bet a lot of money and they lost a lot of money. Allegedly, there's this script that got leaked showing how the fight was supposed to go down between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. This was actually covered by World Star Hip Hop. So let's read this alleged script and see how the fight was supposed to go down. So round one was supposed to go like this. The opening bell rings and Tyson, showing flashes of his old form, immediately stalks forward with his signature bob and weave style.
Reports say that Jake directly bribed Mike to make sure the fight followed a pre-planned script, all to boost views and profits. What did they gain from this? Infamy. Now, both Jake and Mike have been banned from major boxing organizations. Jake's career ended before it even truly started, while Mike ruined his legacy for what? A few extra dollars.
Like I expected it to be.
What is your assessment of Jake Paul, the boxer?
A very good fighter.
Do you think he deserves respect from the public?
Absolutely.
Hey, that was a good slap. I like that.
Let's be honest, Jake was never a real boxer from the beginning. He carefully picked easy opponents to improve his image. His victories were against NBA players, retired MMA fighters, and others who were far from their prime. He avoided fighting boxers his age or skill level because he knew it would expose him. Fame, not boxing, was always his goal. But with this scripted fight, Jake tried to get the fame without putting in the work or taking the risks. Now the boxing world has turned its back on him, and even his biggest supporters can't defend him anymore. His attempt to prove himself as a real athlete is over. While Jake's antics were expected, Mike's betrayal hurts the most. He used to represent hard work and determination, but recent financial struggles seem to have pushed him into a corner. Desperation led him to trade his legacy for money. We understand times are hard, but selling out the sport and betraying millions of fans is unforgivable. Mike didn't just lose the fight, he lost the respect of those who once admired him. He traded his legacy for a paycheck, and in doing so, destroyed everything he stood for.
Mike Tyson, people talk too. People there's certain people that are just crazy, man.
Well, these people that think that he don't stand a chance against Jake Paul, they're like, this shouldn't even, like, because he's too old. I was like, I think you're crazy.
Well, they're definitely uninformed.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: he is 57 years old. He will be 58 when they fight. He has had a long fighting career. He has been knocked out by massive men like Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield. You know, he's had a lot of blows. And he's also doing this very unique kind of training with electrical muscular stimulation.
In the end, this fight was a lose-lose for everyone involved. Jake's boxing career is over, and Mike's reputation is in ruins. They had an opportunity to offer something meaningful, but instead, they chose to take advantage of their fans for quick profits. The boxing world deserves better, and it's now clear that neither Jake nor Mike should be part of it anymore.
At any point, did you start to take your foot off the gas just a little bit because you noticed he was tiring out?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a bit. You know, I wanted to give the fans a show.
At any point, did you start to think that the alleged blacklisting of these two isn't as official as it sounds? Boxing doesn't have a single governing body, so the term blacklist here refers to a collective resistance from promoters and venues. For Jake Paul, this means fewer opportunities to book big-name fights in prestigious venues. For Mike Tyson, it's about certain doors quietly closing that were once wide open for the boxing legend. But let's not ignore the elephant in the room: money. Both Jake Paul and Mike Tyson are huge revenue generators. Jake's fights have brought in an estimated $75 million in pay-per-view revenue, while Tyson's exhibitions remain among the top-selling events. It's hard to overlook numbers like these. After all, boxing is as much about business as it is about the sport. So why would the industry push them away?
I don't know what pleasure you can take from beating an old Mike Tyson.
I believe he actually won the first 2 rounds. Jake Paul probably won the rest of them. Mike Tyson's legs were gone, man. They were gone. And I believe Ryan, I got to give Ryan credit on this one, man. Because Ryan from Sports Wars, he did say that there would be like a no knockout clause.
Some insiders suggest that the issue isn't just about tradition or credibility, but about power. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson operate outside the traditional boxing system. Jake, through the promotion he co-founded, has unprecedented control over his career. He doesn't rely on big promoters like Bob Arum or Eddie Hearn, and that independence makes him a threat. As for Tyson, his name has become bigger than the sport itself. He doesn't need boxing anymore, but boxing still needs him. Fans are divided on the issue. Jake Paul's younger audience enjoys the drama he brings to the ring, his flashy entrances, over-the-top press conferences, and social media antics. To them, he's more than just a fighter, he's a showman. However, critics view him as part of a larger problem, the commercialization of boxing at the cost of its authenticity.
Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. What do we got? Mike Tyson is 58 years old. Jake Paul is 27. 31-year difference. Most of us wanted to see Mike Tyson win. The nostalgia. We rock with Mike. A lot of us support Mike. Jake Paul, you know, the famous YouTuber that stepped into boxing.
Tyson's situation is more complex. Most fans still admire him for his past contributions to the sport, but his current activities have sparked debate. Some view his exhibitions as a fun way to keep his legacy alive, while others worry they're diminishing his achievements. Watching a 57-year-old Tyson trade punches with YouTubers might be entertaining, but it's not exactly the kind of fight that defines championship glory. Despite their differences, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson share something in common: they challenge the boxing establishment. They've shown that the sport doesn't have to stick to the same old rules. For Jake, that means creating his own path and proving that a YouTuber can be a serious fighter. For Tyson, it's about redefining what it means to be a boxer after your prime. However, the boxing world isn't ready to embrace these changes. It holds on to tradition, even as it faces declining viewership and a lack of new stars. By sidelining Jake and Tyson, the industry risks alienating the very audiences that could help save it.
What did you think of the fight?
It wasn't a good one.
Wasn't a good one. Yeah. Overall, how'd you just see how Jake fought, how Mike fought?
Well, you know, you can tell something was wrong with Tyson's leg, so he couldn't. His balance was off.
Oh, that's crazy. You noticed that. I just talked to his trainer and he told me that exact thing.
Yeah.
His balance was off.
The balance is off.
Yeah.
Jake Paul and Mike Tyson may be blacklisted, but they're not going anywhere. Jake's next move might take him to MA, where he's already teased a potential fight with the Professional Fighters League, PLEF. Tyson, on the other hand, continues to be a cultural icon, expanding his brand with ventures ranging from TV shows to a rapidly growing cannabis business. They no longer need the approval of the boxing world because they've built empires far beyond the ring. In fact, being blacklisted might even work in their favor. It reinforces their image as outsiders and disruptors who refuse to follow the rules. Whether you love them or hate them, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson have proven one thing: boxing is far more interesting when they're involved. While the establishment clings to tradition, these two are shaping a future where the sport is bigger, louder, and maybe a little messier. Honestly, who wouldn't want to watch that? The so-called blacklist is more about certain promoters and venues refusing to work with them. For Jake, it's his reputation as a celebrity boxer that causes issues. Critics argue that he's more focused on making money than actually earning his place in the sport, with his opponents being retired fighters and influencers, not exactly elite competition. Tyson's problem, meanwhile, is his willingness to blur the lines between sport and entertainment. While nostalgic fans may love seeing Iron Mike in the ring, purists see it as a distraction from serious boxing. Ironically, both Jake and Tyson are massive moneymakers. Jake's fights have generated over $75 million in pay-per-view revenue since his debut. Tyson's exhibition with Roy Jones Jr. was the highest-selling pay-per-view of 2020. They're not just fighters, they're brands. Yet, the boxing establishment, ever concerned with its image, seems to value tradition over revenue when it comes to these two. Some argue that their presence undermines the sport's integrity, though others would say boxing's own history of corruption and controversy long ago made that argument irrelevant.